me your picks, give me your insights. I want the bets from betting weekly because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, bet with the sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Tuesday night. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian as we get you ready for all of this evening's action. We've got NBA, we've got NHL, we've got Maction in college football. We have got some college hoops as well. Plenty to get to. We'll start to look ahead to this weekend's NFL and college football games as well. Of course, part of the Betting Weekly Studios, Bet Rivers Network. Welcome to everybody here today. Doug, it's great to see you. And look, we just got to keep doing it. I mean, 5 daily doubles in a row. Last 4 last week. We do it again last night with the Eagles and the Laker first quarter team total. We're running hot, Doug.
I mean, rollover parlay, right? If you really want to do it, 10-0, right? Pretty impressive run. But you're only as good as your last play. I hope no one's pressing. Well, I hope people were pressing. Now they don't to stop. Let's see what we got today because, we're also seeing the ball pretty well, right? Like it's not just, 1-0. I think we're above 500 in almost all these shows. And it's all making sense. Now, the Eagles was a weird game, right? Last night, scoreless at half, but felt like the right side, felt like the right team won. So, we were on top of things.
Well, like you say, we are seeing the ball pretty good because it wasn't just the daily double. I mean, you nailed the Jacobs receptions out of the backfield, which was a nice job. Devonta Smith got over the number in the fourth quarter with those 2 catches that he had. So we did have some other things. And, of course, you also had in that game quite the coaching clinic down the stretch, too.
I give up.
I had to, Doug. I know how much this grinds your gears, these coaches at night. Man, that was something else from both of them. I thought LaFleur still running the football with 7.5 minutes left, down 10, and then Sirianni with his stuff at the end. That was something else last night.
I mean, it's fireable. If someone's going to do that, how can you trust them the rest of the season? I just feel bad because players work so hard, coaches work so hard, put in all these hours, and then you get reckless and irresponsible with something like that. It's just ego. It's stupidity. It's just, I just don't know what else to say. It's baffling, and he deserved to lose, but he did not, thankfully for us. But, that stuff's going to backfire at some point. And honestly, if I'm on that team, I'm worried that I have a knucklehead of a coach.
Yep. That is what the worry would be going forward for that. So 10-7, Eagles do get us across the line there against the Packers in Green Bay to get us another daily double last night. All right, let's get to tonight's action here on Betting Week 11. We'll start with the NBA. You know what, though? Before I get to the first game, Doug, a comment on this, too. Quite the year for Nico Harrison in Dallas as he's out. He got chopped this morning. I guess when the owner sat in the front row talking to the guy in the Luka Laker jersey last night, that was enough where they finally had to send Nico home today.
And the fan was there to apologize for saying certain things, and I think maybe giving a middle finger to him or something like that. I don't know what took so long. Why today? I mean, I guess the fan, but, the final straw that broke the camel's back. But I'm sad because I really enjoyed the extra staircase that the Mavericks brought to the arena for Nico's escape exit when the crowd got too rowdy. So I was enjoying that structure, but he's a complete idiot. He got taken advantage of wherever he's been. I mean, he's just like a mark at the poker table, right? And he botched things back in the day. It was a great piece with Steph Curry, and was it with Nike, I believe, that he messed up that whole situation.
Yep.
I don't know how these guys keep getting jobs other than that they're all inside the same circles. It's embarrassing.
It really is amazing. Couldn't even be saved by lucking into Cooper Flag.
Well, and but that's overshadowed. Like he's the idiot who gave Klay Thompson the contract where everyone could see he was washed in Golden State, or maybe washed is a strong word, but certainly there was a reason the Warriors weren't giving it, him extension. So, hey, why don't we go get, the agent's probably like, I know one idiot who'd fall for it. Let me call Nico. So it is what it is. There's going to be bad contracts everywhere. There's going to be bad draft picks everywhere. I don't think people should have, one strike and you're out, but this was a pretty egregious situation, and he committed malpractice. He didn't get the most in the trade. It's one thing to trade Luka, which, is criticized, but to not get the pick swaps, not get the first rounders, and to get so much less than like Rudy Gobert commanded, just shows you're not doing your job and shouldn't have it.
We got a lot going on in the chat box today, which is great to see. Everybody can chime in there here on Betting Weekly Live. Lots of hype for the daily double streak. And I saw, Doug, the guys in the morning were pumping us up. They do a great job, too, on the Betting Weekly AM, Betting Weekly Live AM side. Steve Wiss, I saw on there, was pumping us up. So they hold it down. We've been holding it down. Thanks for everybody who's been checking us out. We have been having a lot of fun here on the PM edition. All right, tonight, NBA 6 games. We start with, of course, the NBC coast-to-coast games, Doug. 8 o'clock East, we'll get the Celtics and the Sixers to start things there. Celtics road favorites now, -1.5. 231.5 is the total this evening.
That's a pretty much a death wish if you want to bet this side. I think it's going to come down to the wire. Celtics should not be 1-point favorite. They were the last time they met in Philly. Sharp odds maker texts me. He goes, well, it just tells you Boston's going to win because there's no reason they should be favored. It should be, Sixers 1.5. Of course, Boston won by exactly 1. I would stay away from this game. I haven't really seen, there's going to be a stretch where Boston kind of figures it out, right? They are playing Josh Minot at center or on the starting lineup now, which is much better. He's been a, plus minus really favorable for them, but he was a disaster against Orlando, and the bench was the key for this comeback. Guy's named Hugo Gonzalez. Jordan Walsh, who was on the team last year, but only diehards would know who he is. Peyton Pritchard's been terrible this year. Now that he's in the starting lineup and not getting the, shots, the looks, I guess is a way to put it. Maybe he's trying too hard. This Celtics team's tough to figure out. I think their coach is a psycho in a good way. Don't love him, but he's fine. Peyton Pritchard under 2.5 made threes might be an option there. But I said with the over, not a whole lot of defense. Both teams want to run. It's just one of those games where I think it's going to be up and down, numbers high, lean over, lean Philly, but no real opinion here. I can't get involved.
Yeah, I think the only thing for me, Doug, would be the over. I did see this morning, I guess these two have gone over 7 of their last 8 times they've played, the Sixers and the Celtics. So, I mean, that's kind of appealing a little bit. The number is 231.
I was liking the under, though, to cut you off. I just feel like sometimes these teams get familiar with one another, and there's some, playoffs intensity, if you will.
Yeah.
And, Celtics are off a big game with Orlando as a revenge spot. They did get the win. Probably Sixers are the side the more I talk it out, but maybe a first quarter thing. I think Sixers are going to want this game a little more, but I can't pull the trigger.
Bet Rivers does have a special for you tonight on this game. 30-30. Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown each to score at least 30 points in Sixers Celtics. This is boosted from plus 290 to plus 350. So both of them to score 30. Obviously, Doug, the one that kind of, the liability, as you like to say, is probably Brown. Brown's the one that you're going to sweat out with the 30, because Maxey, I'd feel a lot more comfortable about him than I would Brown.
Yeah, Brown's been consistent. He's had over 30 in 3 of the last 4, but you're right. He's more volatile. The variance is there as opposed to, Maxey runs the offense because he controls the ball. Yeah, but, you're getting a nice payout here. I'm not going to say Maxey's guaranteed, but I'd be surprised if Maxey didn't hit 30.
The other game on NBC tonight, if you're on the West Coast, at 8 o'clock Pacific, of course, 11 on the East, you'd have to go to Peacock for it. That will be the Nuggets and the Kings in Sacramento. Nuggets 8-point road favorites. Big total here, too. 243 for these two.
And I think it's too light, at least for Denver. They're going to run, man. Like, this Denver team is so much more potent offensively. In years past, they needed some kind of, I don't want to call them stragglers, but some randoms. But like Jamal Murray's in all-star form. I think he's going to finally get over the hump this year. Can you believe he's never been an all-star? It's more injuries, but certainly worth mentioning. And just Cam Johnson's reliable much more than Michael Porter Jr. Christian Brown's off the big deal. He'll get you some points. Peyton Watson, he's no longer a straggler. And they have Hardaway Jr. off the bench. Bruce Brown's back in Denver. So they come at you at ways. Valanciunas certainly a better backup center than DeAndre Jordan. So there's a lot to like with this Nuggets offense. I think the Kings are a joke. Frankly, I'd probably want to fade them the rest of the year. And you're going to make money, I think, if you just fade them every game. The only game they played well in the last couple weeks was against the Warriors, when the Warriors, I think, were totally flat. Yeah. And Russell Westbrook had a triple-double. So other than that, they've been terrible. Sabonis is expected to play, so keeping an eye on that. But really, this team's just leaves a lot to be desired. Let's leave it at that.
I remember that night. That was the night I tried to go after the Kings when the Warriors had no Curry, no Butler, nobody played that night. And I thought maybe all the backups on the Warriors would be able to get it done. And the Kings played pretty well against that crew. Some other games for you this evening. There are 4 others aside from those 2 East Coast, West Coast NBC games. Let's go to Toronto next, who's in Brooklyn against the Nets. Raptors 10.5-point road favorites here. 233 flat the total.
I'm going to go to old reliable here. First quarter for the Raptors, team total over. The Brooklyn's been that terrible, and they don't really have any, desire to win. They've won 1 game. They've been pretty bad. This Toronto team's off a loss, so that's why I really like them. I'm going to lay the 2.5 first quarter as well. This coach is a psycho in a good way. I love him. He's super intense. I think the team really respects him. He wants to win every game. In a perfect world, the Nets would be off a win because they got dusted the last time they came off a win, but that's not going to happen very often because they're 1-9. They just lost by 36 at the Knicks. I don't think they really care to sort of bounce back. That was Sunday. Now they're in the gentleman's club capital of the world. So who knows what's been going on either in Manhattan or Toronto. That's usually a tough 2-game, 2-step with teams traveling. So I'm on Toronto. Excuse me. This is back in Brooklyn. My apologies there. Yeah. But either way, I think the Raptors off a loss are always going to be a team I want to bet on. I'm going to take them over 29.5. They're pretty formidable, this Toronto team. They're not good, but they're not bad. They're 5-5. They play teams hard. They had won 6 straight before this loss. So I think they're going to get back on track here. First quarter team totals really cheap in my eyes. I mean, just think about the scoring you have with Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes is an all-star, Emmanuel Quickley. These guys are shooters, man. These are scorers. Against this Nets team, this number should be 34.5. I swear, it's ridiculous. I'll lay it 2.5 and team total.
Yeah, look, I like the over just because, the Nets, as you say, they give up so many points. They've given up 125 plus in 4 of their last 5. We know the Raptors could score. They don't play much D either. So if I could just get the Nets to contribute, can they contribute 110 for me, Doug? 110 maybe? If I can get that out of them.
You like that over a team total per se?
Well, I like your angle with the Raptor team total. That's probably the way that you want to go for it, especially first quarter and then on and on. But what is the Raptor team total right now? If you look at it, just throwing them out. I got it for you.
I got to do some quick math here. So you basically, for people who want to do this on the fly, you divide the game total in half. So 232, let's go in half, 116, and then you add and subtract half the spread. So it's around 121 to 111. That's how you do the math of this all.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be 121.5 or something like that.
Right in that ballpark.
22.5, right.
It's there. 122.
I will say, so when there's a point spread, okay, if it's 10, first half's 5, 5.5, and then the first quarter's 2.5, 3, right? It's just everything is commensurate with the game line. But if you think based on substitution patterns and just effort and things like that, that's where you get some line value because the odds makers are just lazy. They just do it. It's all commensurate with the game. Well, the game factors in the backdoor covers and things like that. And, certain teams are so top heavy with a certain player, whether it's Denver with Jokic, who plays the entire first quarter, or subs out with 2 minutes to go. Those matter. in these team totals. So when you start looking at, then there's teams that are really bad in the first quarter because of substitution patterns. So you can get some line value. Like, for example, Brooklyn is the single worst team in the NBA in first quarter margin. Okay. So they've been losing first quarters by an average of 6 points. Okay. By far. The second worst of all teams is Detroit at -3.5. So Detroit is the second worst, and they're being outscored in the first quarter by 3.5 points. That's the second one. The worst is Brooklyn at 6. I mean, you're talking it goes 6, 3.5, and then like 3.3, 3.2, right? So there's gonna be line value fading the Nets every single night. So Raptors -2.5 is a no-brainer.
Well, and look, and like you say, this is why I like talking these things out with you, because if I'm telling you my whole reasoning for liking the over is because the Nets are giving up 125 plus for their last 5, then going to 122.5 on the over for Toronto, that's just a much quicker way to get to the end zone, right, Doug? Just going it that way.
I mean, but you're also, you could sort of backfire, get cute. Like if it's somehow the Raptors play with their food late,
right,
and they win 120, 117, the game goes over, but the team total does not.
Well, that's how that's with anything we could somehow find our way into those kind of situations. So Raptors and Nets tonight in Brooklyn. Elsewhere, Memphis is on the other side of the river there in New York. They're at the Garden against the Knicks. Knicks -10, 232.5. Do kind of lean to the Knicks tonight, Doug, just because they've been smashing teams lately. 4 straight covers, 4 straight double-digit wins. Memphis not that great. Knicks at home, -10. It's kind of where I'm leaning.
Yeah, I mean, Grizzlies are a mess, right? Ja Morant's involved in a lot of trades, things like that. I don't know about this Knicks team. This Mike Brown, I can never get behind. He's kind of a putz, but he's also like diligent. So it's a weird combination. But they've been trucking teams lately, won by double digits, including beating the Chicago Bulls by double digits, which obviously is not easy. So I guess that would be the only play. Memphis is nothing special. I just have been so impressed over the last couple of years with Memphis is, drafting and player development and things like that, because they've been finding these guys out of nowhere, which has enabled them to lose some of their bigger names. But they drafted Jalen Wells, and he was guarding starting point guards out of Washington State. He's been really good. Random guys have been playing. Santi Aldama has been solid. Gigi Jackson was out of nowhere. Yep. Cedric Coward's been fantastic. So I think Memphis, in terms of player development, has the best front office in the league. I really mean that. Maybe OKC, but I don't know. That's how good the Grizzlies have been. So I just worry a little bit. But the Knicks are deeper this year as opposed to last year. So that's something to keep in mind.
It certainly is. Speaking of the Thunder, they are at home tonight against the Warriors. Thunder is -7.5 at Bet Rivers, 227 flat in this one.
This is tricky. Obviously, the Warriors are really good, but Thunder are going to be up for this game, and they're not up for a lot of games. So they're pretty dangerous in this regard. I would say SGA, every time he's faced Curry, has 30 plus. So 29.5 is -157. I'd probably over 30.5 is a good play. He's going to get his looks. Warriors are good at times defensively, but I think they're going to want to run with this team. So game over is probably a good play, but I'm looking at SGA. He's the reigning MVP. These guys are competitive. They don't mess around. A guy like Steph Curry coming into your building, the Warriors still draw, people's interest. I think this is going to be a big game. I think SGA is going to go off here.
Kind of surprised with 2 primetime games on each coast tonight that Warriors Thunder isn't one of them. One of those 2 games in the primetime slot, but they're probably all their other meetings are, Doug. I'd have to bet the Warriors and the Thunder. I'm sure you're going to get them at some point on the national television stage. Big one for you tonight for the Jazz, right? I mean, we got the Pacers in town who are 1-9. Jazz here getting 3 points at home, 232.5. Good chance for the Jazz to maybe get win number 4 here at home.
I wish I sniffed this out because the Pacers sort of laid down their last game. I think they're playing for this game. So a lot of guys are returning back to the lineup. I think there's a reason the Pacers are favored here. But I wonder, man, it's been a long road trip. So Neith's just expected to play. Nebhard's going to play. They missed the last game. Not sure about Matherin. I'm going to go to a prop here because I think this is going to be a tight game down the stretch. So I'm going to play over Yusuf Nurkic's rebounds. He had 10 in the last game against Gobert. Now, if we did my same game parlay, it would have hit last game. So I'm really annoyed that I didn't stick with it because I thought it was sharp sort of concept there. It was like plus 245 or whatever. But Nurkic over 10.5. Indy's going to shoot about 35 threes. Okay. There's going to be a lot of rebounds. Now, that means guards are going to get some rebounds, but still, Nurk will go out to the centers and then get the long carom and things like that. So I think he's going to get to like 12 to 15. I like over 10.5 here. I think Nurkic, I believe his nickname's the Bosnian Bear. So I expect him to get some rebounds here. But in terms of I think both teams are really well coached. If you're into late night hoops and whatever, college hoops isn't your thing, I think this will be a really well played game.
It very well could be in that. And I did see in the chat box too, someone likes all the chalk tonight. Going to parlay the chalk, the Knicks, the Thunder, and the Nuggets. All the big chalk tonight, taking care of business there for us. So there's your NBA. By the way, Bet Rivers NBA midweek live profit boost. Players can log into Bet Rivers on the app and will receive an NBA live profit boost upon each login on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. See the Bet Rivers app or the website for full details. That is your NBA midweek live profit boost. Getting involved tonight with 6 games on the NBA card. Okay, Doug, on to the ice now. Tuesday, that means lots of games. 9 games in the NHL this evening. Not bad last night. Florida got the job done in Vegas against the Golden Knights. And let me tell you, that Islander Devil game, it stayed under. It was 3-2, but it was only because Sorokin played out of his mind. The Devils, Doug, had over 20 high danger chances in the game, and the Islanders just got stupid goaltending from Ilya Sorokin. So that's what kept us from getting that over in the Rock.
Where's the phrase standing on his head come from? Because you would say Sorokin was standing on his head.
You would say that. Where standing on his head originated from, I am not sure, but that would just be he's stopping everything. It's just absolute, and that's what Sorokin was doing. He was doing it last night. I couldn't believe it because he's had a rough start to the year. It's part of the reason why the Islanders have played so many overs is because Sorokin's been so bad. But he was great against the Devils, and they got themselves a win. I think that was the Devils' first loss at home this year was to the Islanders last night. So nice job. A bunch of games tonight. Let's start with the TV doubleheader. Toronto is in Boston against the Bruins. Bruins have won 6 straight, and they're dogs at home tonight. Plus 112. Maple Leafs are the favorite, minus 139. The total is 6.5. And why is the total significant, Doug? Maple Leafs have gone over in 10 straight, and they have gone over in 14 of their 16 games so far this season. Sometimes I give you streaks like this, and then you say, well, when's it going to end? Is tonight the night it's going to end? 10 straight overs for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
So that is tempting to tail, isn't it? Has it been goaltending, scoring, both? What do you got?
It's been a little bit of everything. I don't think that they've gotten good goaltending from Stolarz and some of their guys. They play a lot of track meets. They run up and down. So, it's a little bit of a mixed bag.
Both wins and losses. So yeah, give their credit.
It's in everything. It's kind of just been the way the Leafs have been playing. Boston's had a couple too. They've been playing some overs as well. I more can't believe that the Bruins are, with how well they've been playing, they're plus 112 tonight. That's probably where more I would want to be this evening than the total, to be quite honest with you.
I mean, how do you not bet the over?
I mean with the way
14-2, they're 14-2 this year to the over.
With the way that they've been going, I really can't fault anyone who wants to play the over tonight.
Why aren't you? I want to know why you aren't.
I just feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, Doug, at this point. Like, I feel like it's one of those things that when's it going to stop? I feel like Boston's going to play well tonight, too, being a home dog tonight and with how well they've been running 6 straight. So I like Boston tonight, even though the Leafs overs have been coming in wins and in losses. It just doesn't I don't know.
Isn't that every bet? I mean, you can lose any bet,
You
right?
can lose any bet.
But you can't be afraid to lose. I mean, so my thing with streaks like this, and this,
Yes.
I'm not like I didn't invent this concept, but it's good to remind everyone. If you jump in late, which this technically would be if we didn't take any of it,
Right.
you can only lose once. Okay. But if you try
Yeah.
to be that guy who's like too cool for school and bet into a streak, you can only win once and lose a bunch of times. So for all we know, this will be 14 straight overs, right?
It very well
you laugh,
could.
but what? That's 4 more. It's not like it's 10 more.
It's not.
So I'm going to bet this. I'm going to bet over 6.5.
Let's split. Then there you go. We'll go over tonight in Boston. I am going to throw it in there too. Not going to be on the best bet card, but we'll throw the over in with Toronto and the Bruins for this evening. The other game in the TV doubleheader is the Ducks in Colorado. That's the second game. The Ducks have been, without question, the biggest surprise in the NHL this year. With Joel Quenneville, of course, now behind the bench. They are 11-3-1. They've beaten some really good teams. They're plus 205 in Colorado. Now, the Avalanche have been awesome, too. They're 10-1-5 so far this year. And there it is. This has gotten to a 7 at Bet Rivers. We talk about this a lot. When do we see the 7s? You're getting it tonight. These Duck games have been frantic paces. And you've got the Avalanche who could score a ton. That's the first 7 we've seen this season, I think, Doug, in this one.
So Anaheim's only gone over 9 of 15. Would you say they're the most profitable team? You would think.
If I had all those numbers in front of me, based on their record and how many times they were probably dogs in all of those wins, I think without question they've got to be. Without knowing the numbers off the top of my head, they have.
Yeah, I mean, look, and it's hockey, right? It's really tough to predict. That's why the playoffs are so exciting. And a lot of these math guys who shape the odds market really use last year stats as a baseline. So early in the year, even when a team's hot like this, you can continue to get value if you sort of sniff out the right team and not just a flash in the pan or you jump in too late at the wrong time. I think, obviously, to your point, the Avalanche, different situation, right? But Ducks will probably be still good value when they're playing at home and things like that. But the over-under, I would side under here, just looking at the numbers. Obviously, there's juice at Bet Rivers. It's minus $1.37 with the line going to 7. But this is a team where I think it's going to be a little bit tighter played, just based on sort of my read of the market and then read of the game based on just doing the stuff for 25 plus years. So I would say under probably has some line value at minus 137.
I would think so as well. This is one of those games. Sometimes we talk about these. I want to watch it. I want to see what happens in it because I did this with the Ducks last week. I didn't get involved when they went to Dallas against the Stars, and they lit the Stars up that night in Dallas. So I'm trying to see more from Anaheim, and if I actually believe in what they have going on so far this season. Now, there is a few, Doug, that I do like. I saw Michael Corleone say he smells a rat with the Bruins. Well, the Bruins is definitely not my favorite game on the card tonight, that Bruin Maple Leaf game, as we were just kind of talking things out. I do like tonight, Dallas on the road in Ottawa, getting Dallas at a short number here, minus 104. Ottawa has played well, but Stars are one of my favorite teams in the league. I think they're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league. So you're getting the Stars at a short number on the road, which is why I kind of lean to them tonight. Elsewhere, I do like late night Winnipeg, Doug. They have lost 3 in a row. They're on a long 6-game road trip. They're in Vancouver. Vancouver, not good, especially at home. They haven't played well. Hellebuck back between the pipes tonight. He didn't play last game. Jets minus 130. It's a little pricey, but I think the Jets are going to end their winning streak tonight and get themselves a decisive victory in Vancouver. I wouldn't even mind if you wanted to lay the goal and a half at plus 188 with Winnipeg this evening.
So you like them with authority.
I like the Jets with authority, and they're one of my 2 that I'm contemplating for the end of the show for the Daily Double tonight. So the Jets are I really like the Jets in Vancouver this evening for that. And I really like the Kraken in Seattle tonight as well at home. They're minus 127 right now. Columbus, second night of a back-to-back. They played in Edmonton, kind of blew the game last night. Seattle's been pretty decent at home so far this year. They're nice, fresh, and rested. Kraken minus 127 feels pretty good to me there tonight against Columbus too.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the back-to-back. Obviously, in this case, talking about Columbus, not Seattle, but the Kraken, I believe, have lost 13 straight going back to last year,
Yes.
the second game of a back-to-back.
They have. We talked when they were on that East Coast trip a couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago. We had brought that up when they were in Philly and Carolina and all those places on that run. This is not a back-to-back for Seattle as they are at home at the Climate Pledge. And Columbus just, McDavid tore them apart in the third period last night in Edmonton. That's a tough way for them to go now, having to come back out there this evening. So we're going to go there.
Make of that streak. I know it doesn't apply tonight, but maybe it inversely does because they're not on a back-to-back, so maybe they have value in these situations.
Yeah, it's possible that
alcohol induced. What are we looking at here?
Right. Yeah, alcohol infused. That's one way to look at it in some of those spots. Yeah, I think that you could be right about a little bit of value for it, just a little bit. Could be
because their statistics from the year involve the games that are back to back, right?
Correct.
So if they're really bad in those games and you remove them, they're probably power rating is way higher when they're not on a back to back. So those numbers are skewed, right? In theory, and skewed. Look, other teams have back to backs too, but if they're that bad, then they really should have a separate power rating. It's kind of like these coaches who are unbelievable as a favorite or dog and terrible as a favorite. You really should give them two separate power ratings in football, right?
Yep.
College football, I'm trying to think of a coach who's just terrible as a favorite, but you always want to bet on him as the underdog. Like those types of teams, like Louisville, they're terrible as a favorite. We're going to talk about them in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, they lost outright as like a 20-point home favorite to Cal the other night. But as a dog, that's when you want to bet them, like they took down Miami this year. So maybe like the Kraken are that version where they should really have a different power rating when they're not off a back-to-back.
And they're just playing, like you say, just tonight. And especially when you factor in the other side is on the back-to-back, that probably makes it even higher in an instance like that. So Seattle, Winnipeg, Dallas for me tonight. Those are the few I'm looking at. I think Carolina is going to win too. That's a little pricier at 175 against Washington. So bunch of Carolina's won 5 in a row. They've been playing really good hockey too. So lots of NHL tonight, 9 games all the way around on the ice. Of course, if you like what you're seeing, as you should, make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube and check out all of our other shows released earlier today. Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Nigel Seeley and Sean Calvert, they preview the group stage of the ATP Finals following the withdrawal of Novak Djokovic. So Joker out there. Nigel and Sean will have you all set up for the ATP Finals, the group stage. That is going to be right there, Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. All right, Doug, on to the NFL. And, of course, we're going to look at a couple games that we like early in the week. The extra point, some stuff just kind of putting the bow on week number 10. And I was going to mention it quick when we were kind of doing future odds yesterday, things like that. But, the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens are still at the top of the board at BetRivers to win the AFC. But these other teams, Doug, have been so much more impressive. Patriots, Colts, Chargers, Broncos, those 4 against those 3. If I even gave you, you could choose one of the 2 groups, Doug, which group would you want to have? The Chief, Bill, Raven pool or the Patriot, Bronco, Charger, Colt pool?
The first one, and it's not even the Bills. Just give me the Ravens and Chiefs. Although the Ravens stink in the Super playoffs, so I just feel like we always get excited over these teams that end up not making a run.
Yep.
I say it for the last decade. The only teams that will be in the Super Bowl will be the teams with the elite quarterbacks like Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, maybe Jalen Hurts because what he does, or a rookie deal. So the Patriots are on this. Now, Herbert I would consider in that family, but their offensive line's decimated. Just the Steelers stink, and that's the reason it wasn't exposed. But the Chargers will have a dud in the playoffs. Just mark my word. They will have a dud. Herbert has too many brain cramps in games. I love him, and maybe Harbaugh's going to be that much better because he knows what he's doing with clock management and timeouts. He's been around so long. But the Patriots are the only team of that next tier that I think can actually make it because they have so much salary cap flexibility with the rookie deal and their quarterback, who's also been playing great. These teams that overpay their quarterbacks, we get excited and they just hit a wall. I mean, the Tuas of the world, the Jordan Loves of the world, like these guys don't get to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff not getting to the Super Bowl. It does not happen, because at some point they're going to meet a guy who's a quarterback who does deserve that contract, and that's going to be the difference maker.
That is, and look, I wouldn't put the Bills there either, Doug. I just the odds board still puts the Bills there. The Bills aren't winning anything this year.
But I will say, we've seen teams who were so much better not get over the hump, and then the worst version of them does. So maybe this, in a weird way, is the Bills' year.
From your lips to God's ears. I hope
McDermott needs to get fired, though, first. That needs to happen first. Sadly.
A second from your lips to God's ears. 2 in a row from Doug right there for me, involving the Buffalo Bills. All right, go for two games, 2 early sides totals that we each like as we start to get ready for Week 11 in the NFL. And this first one for you, Doug, I'm glad you put it on, because I was leaning back and forth, making this one of my 2 picks. We've got the Bengals, of course, going to Pittsburgh this week. Steelers -5.5, total of 49.
All right, so it's a rematch of that Thursday night classic, right? And this is the same point spread. So this is what the Steelers were favored in Cincy on that Thursday night. The Bengals have lost back-to-back games in horrific fashion, right? The Bears game, where they had a nice comeback and then broke down and couldn't tackle anyone. And then the game before that as well, where they should have, won and covered against the Jets, and it got away. Now, that defense all of a sudden has not turned into the 85 Bears. But I do think the week off has sort of like removed that bad taste out of their mouth, and they're coming into this game confident. I think the Steelers' offense is bad. There's talk of, Aaron Rodgers kind of hit a wall at his age, finally starting to show like he could hide it, and he's sort of like ducking hits and things like that. So I'm going to have to play the Bengals plus the 5.5. Fresher, off a bye. They can still, Flacco can still torch it. We all remember what Tomlin said about, when the Browns traded Flacco within the division. Tomlin knows what that means for his defense. So I think there's some line value here at 5.5.
The Houston Texans, off of that ridiculous collapse by the Jaguars on Sunday at home. Now the Texans, after getting that win with Davis Mills, go to Tennessee. Titans off a bye. Texans a touchdown favorite on the road with Davis Mills. Even that is a little much to stomach, Doug.
Yeah, and I just don't think this Houston team's very, very good. Now, there's a chance Stroud comes back, I'm assuming, right? But even then, this team's been pretty inept, all things considered, and they play down to their opponents. I am a little gun-shy here because the Titans, I think, are like 5-22 or 24 ATS over the last 2 seasons. So I'm not in a rush, but you got the new coach. You're off a bye. You're catching 7 at home. I mean, this is the very definition of line value. This line should be 4, 3.5 maybe.
Yeah.
Texans are not that good. They were down 19 in the 4th at home to the Jaguars. This is just an embarrassing line. There's no way this closes higher than 7, right? This is, if you want to grab numbers in the middle of the week, I guarantee you the Sharps will take the +7. This line's going to close like 5.
There you go. I'm with you, by the way. I would not want to be laying 7 with the Houston Texans this Sunday on the road in Tennessee. A couple for me. Kansas City and Denver, big game in the AFC West on Sunday. Total 44 was the first thing that caught my eye, Doug, because I think the Bronco defense is good enough to maybe hold the Chiefs to around 20 points. But I also think the Bronco offense isn't good enough to be able to get anywhere near that, especially against this Chief D, which I know it's not probably the same Chief D as a couple of years ago, but I've seen enough from Bo Nix and the crew here where I feel like this game has 20-10 written all over it. So 44, I think, is a bit too much. So I like that under early in the week.
I mean, look, they're combined 13-6 to the under, right?
Yep.
Each team, they've only gone over 3 times each, right? And Chiefs' calling card is defense. I know we have Patrick Mahomes here, but their defense was Spagnuolo. I don't know. Has he been interviewing at all with the Giants about returning there? Broncos have been a lot of smoke and mirrors on offense. Is Bo Nix shine is going to wear off? Is it against the blitz here? Broncos kind of had their number last year. Remember, they missed a field goal that was blocked that should have won them the game. Broncos do get up for this game. I lean under here, but I just wonder. I know the Broncos, winter is coming for them. I just don't know if it's this game.
The funny thing is, the hot name around town today, Doug, in the New York area, believe it or not, was Mike McCarthy. Been the hot name.
I've heard that. I've heard that as well. Good luck with that one.
God bless and good luck. If the Giants go and hire Mike McCarthy. Ravens were the other one that jumped out to me because, yes, it's a division game on the road. It's over a touchdown. I understand that. This is their game, Doug, to get back to 500. They started 1-5. They're 4-5. Chance to get the stamp here. I know the Cleveland D can be spunky and keep them in games, but I think now Baltimore, they've gotten through these few games, and now they see the tunnel getting back to 500 and getting themselves on the run. I think the Ravens pound the Browns on Sunday in this game. Pound them.
Good. I mean, let's talk about shine wearing off. I'm kind of over the Dylan Gabriel experiment. I mean, this is kind of it's run its course. I mean, I'm not like, pounding the table for Shedeur Sanders, but at some point, let's see what we got here. Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking the Browns. I think, like, for example, the last game I'd much rather have the Titans +7.
Yeah.
At home here than the Browns +8.5 against this wagon of the Ravens that's coming to town. Although Baltimore didn't play amazing last week. I thought the Vikings hung around for a little bit. So a dog's going to cover in one of these games involving Baltimore. They're not going to just truck everyone the rest of the season.
No, they're not. But I think the Gabriel factor's a lot here. He stinks. He just stinks. Like how many points is he scoring this week? I mean, it's just I don't know. Ravens. I just think are gonna take them to town in this one. There you go.
We should have a prop bet with the Ravens are now -265 at Bet Rivers to win the division. What's the highest it gets by like week 15? Because the last 2 weeks, if they have a huge advantage, like. Is it going to be -750 at one point? Or are they going to actually lose a game and be the Ravens and make this, kind of a roller coaster down the stretch?
At 1-5, was it? It wasn't. It was like +130 or 40. Like it wasn't. It never crossed 2. Even at 1-5.
-121, and then they won, and then it went to 180, and then I think that was last week, and then now it's 275 or whatever.
That's amazing. It really is. Of course, I agree. The Bengals off rest. Good spot for +5.5. I like the Bengals as well with Doug in that spot this Sunday coming up against the Steelers. All right, NFL Week 11. We'll continue to talk about that throughout the week here on Betting Weekly Live. College football, before we do a little go for two there, let's get tonight's games in. It is a Maction Tuesday here on Betting Weekly Live. We have 2 games. Kent State visiting Akron. Doug got Akron home last week against UMass. Well, tonight, Akron laying right now 7 at Bet Rivers, 49.5 the total.
Carver, we as we all know, we always remember our first. So the first of this streak that we're on was the Akron Zips -12. So we got there. So shout out to them. But I'm on the dog here, at least just a lean. Kent State team's interesting. They kind of laid down against their non-conference opponent. They had some injuries they were nursing and then played possum a little bit. It's Maction. It's midweek. I don't think Akron can win and cover as a favorite back-to-back weeks. I think this game gets weird. I like Finley, the quarterback, but he's not exactly Tom Brady either. He makes a lot of mistakes, forces the ball into danger zones. It's burned me throughout the season. So I'm gonna lean to the Kent State Golden Flashes. I hope they're still the Golden Flashes.
They are. Take the Flashes, baby. The Amish electrician getting involved with us here on Betting Weekly Live. Look, you just said, can I get a weird, crazy MAC game at some point? I was a little, there wasn't much for us last week. I actually think the other game could have potential to get a little wacky too. Western Michigan and Ohio is the other MAC game.
Battle of first place.
Battle for first place, Western Michigan -1.5, 47 flat. Western Michigan, Doug, this is the thing that stuck out to me. They are a much different team at home. That is where they have gotten the job done this year. Beat Central Michigan, crushed Ball State, beat Rhode Island, beat Toledo, lost an overtime game to North Texas, who's a really good team in the group of 5. They have been a really good home team, and that's why I kind of leaned to Western Michigan here this evening.
I couldn't get on this game. Like I see what you're saying. It's probably the right side. But you got to be careful. Like everyone loves betting Mac shit until they don't. Ohio's won 5 of 6. They played well too. They hung with Rutgers. These are 2 solid teams. I think Buffalo's too inconsistent, and same with Miami of Ohio. So it's a 4-way tie right now, atop the conference at 4-1. I think these 2 teams are the best teams in the MAC, but Ohio plays down to their opponents sometimes. It's going to be a well-played game. I lean Western Michigan, but no need to bet this when we have all this other going on.
We have plenty of things happening tonight, but if I'm going to get involved in a little action, we get the Broncos rolling up in Western Michigan later this evening. All right, let's go for 2 on the college football side. A couple of early looks for some of this weekend's games, and there are some really big ones that we will talk about throughout the week. One of them is this Alabama-Oklahoma game. Of course, there's 2 massive SEC games. There's this, and then, of course, Texas-Georgia, which we'll talk about later in the week. Bama -6.5 in Tuscaloosa, 45.5 the total.
This line feels a little short. I have a very good friend of mine out here who's a sharp better, really more of an ARB better, but he's an OU fan and he talks to me every week about the Sooners, and he thinks this line doesn't make sense in terms of the market. He's, if you take out home field and common opponents, the line should be like 7.5, 8 with where Alabama plays. I thought Alabama looked fine against LSU. The Tigers should have covered, but that was new coach bump, and LSU obviously has recruits. This Sooners team is not that great. Mateer has not been the same since the injury, and that's totally fair, but it's just a fact. And the defense was smothering bad offenses, and then Ole Miss lit them up. Now, Alabama is not, this is not the apex Bama offense, but it's still good enough. It's a relatively night game. It's a late afternoon game at Bryant-Denny. I think the crowd's going to be electric. I think this line should be like 7.5. So I think there's a little value. I think the market will move. I'm not betting it now, but I do think it's an interesting game, and I think Bama's that good in terms of reliable. And I'll tell you what, there may not be a better first quarter coach than Bama's got. So I think Bama early on, or if you want to take a position in live wagering, that's the way to go.
Kind of been waiting for Oklahoma to kind of get theirs this year, Doug, and I think it could be this Saturday in Tuscaloosa against the Tide. The other one that you have here, this is Friday night, which is Louisville hosting Clemson. Man, Clemson's 4-5 here after 9 games. Louisville -3 at Bet Rivers, 50.5 the total.
I touched on it earlier. You don't want to bet Louisville as a favorite, but they're favorite here. It's a short favorite, and Clemson's the bigger brand. So let me rephrase that old adage that you don't want to bet Louisville, maybe when they're the bigger program or whatever you want to call it. I just think it's a really good spot to back the Cardinals here. I off an embarrassing loss where they're about 20-point favorites and they lose outright in overtime. Cal played pretty well, all things considered, but I think just the Louisville speed and everything is just better. I think Dabo was feeling himself a little bit and all that stuff. I think he gets a little rude awakening here. I think a Friday night crowd, great atmosphere, Clemson feeling a little fat and happy. I know Clemson, you mentioned the 4-5, they could use this game to get bowl eligible, because then after this, they get an automatic win with Furman, and then they get South Carolina in Columbia, though. So, this is their last ACC game. I think Louisville's the right side here. I really do. I think this line should be 4.5.
I'm with you. I like Louisville, too, on Friday night. I've had enough of Clemson. I hope they don't make a bowl, to be quite honest with you. Send them home. I've had enough. Dabo needs a year off.
Does Dabo even want to go to a bowl here?
Probably not, because when you're 6-6, that's the whocares.com bowl.
And you're dealing with all these guys who treat it like an exhibition and
play.
just practicing like that for another month and things like that. Dabo would really rest on his laurels, but I will say Jeff Brom, backing him as a favorite, dangerous, but 3's okay with me.
First one for me, Notre Dame visiting Pitt Saturday afternoon. Not one, but two coaches this week, Doug, decided to take kind of a little bit of a shot at Notre Dame. Yeah, Joey McGuire, Texas Tech, doing the whole conference thing, talking about BYU. Obviously was talking about Notre Dame not being in a conference. Then you had Narduzzi, for some reason, being asked about what a big game this is. He goes, this isn't a big game to us. Who cares if we lose? It's not an ACC game, kind of making that thing. Marcus Freeman, one thing that he's actually pretty good at is he's a master motivator. He's really good with the kids. I think he's going to get them all gassed up this week with Narduzzi and with Pitt. And I think their offense is too good anyway, Doug. I think they're going to smash Pitt on Saturday afternoon. Smash them.
I wouldn't be surprised. I've lost too much money betting against the knucklehead Narduzzi, the meathead that he is. I get a little scared, but you're right. Notre Dame should open up a can here. They should run all over them. But, there's been times I've been burned, like the Boston College game. They burned me.
But there wasn't a lot of, and look, sometimes this is a thing and sometimes it isn't. Did they go into that week being like, man, we gotta go out and crush this team this week? I feel like there's going to be a little bit of, you guys hear them talking about us. We don't deserve to be in the college football playoff. We don't deserve to be this Pitt coach saying, I feel like this is the week where Freeman's going to be like, let's go. Let's drop 50. Like, let's just go and just put him in the ground. So I'm going with Notre Dame, and I hate betting my own team, Doug. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I hate doing it, but I just got a feeling this week is going to be a good one for them out in Pittsburgh. Other one for me, Wake was good to me last week against Virginia. I thought that was a really nice spot to get Wake Forest. They won the game outright. I think a little different now. Now North Carolina has been playing pretty well. This might be a little too much. Wake laying 6. They might win this game, but North Carolina is starting to show you something the last couple of weeks. Could be a really ugly game, but I want to take the 6 with Belichick and the Tar Heels here.
Yeah, and Wake's off a big win, or good performance, I should say. So at some point, look, Belichick's awesome coach. Okay, he just is. Now, obviously, there's a lot more involved with the ACC and college and all that.
Right.
And the team's definitely improved, but how good are they? And can they hang around in this game? This is at Wake, but North Carolina, I don't know if anyone caught the post game, but this is a big stretch for them here. They're 4-5. They have 3 games left within the state of North Carolina. So they got 2 on the road, but at Wake and NC State, and then home to Duke in the middle. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's a nice sort of fade job right now of UNC. But Wake's off the big win. And so I just feel like there's no flat spots with UNC. Like every team's up for them.
Every team's up for them. And Wake's better than them. I'm not going to deny that. I just think this is I think that this should be 3 or 4.
It's also 6 points. Yeah, fair. There's also 6 points involved. You're not asking them to win.
I'm not asking them to win. I think this should be around. I think if Wake loses last week, this is 3 or 4. Wake getting the big win makes this 6. And that's kind of where I lay in terms of those with the points. All right, there you go. College football coming up this week. We have college basketball tonight. Now, usually the last few Betting Weekly Lives, we've just had a lot of really big spreads, ranked teams playing nobodies, etc. And by the way, did UCLA, did that team get that home last night? I checked with about 8 minutes left.
The Wolves of West Georgia lost by 23, my friend.
I saw it about 18 or 20 with 7 minutes to go, and I was like, here we go. Doug's got this one. Let's go. Bring it home. And sure enough,
21.
There it is, 21.
Down 5 at half. Down 5 at half.
Down 5 at the half. We tonight, though, actually have a lot of really good college basketball games. Let's start with Kentucky and Louisville. That is a good one. This is at the Yum tonight. Louisville -6, 173.5.
Wasn't this team the punching bag a couple of years ago where they couldn't even win a game, the biggest drop and all this stuff? So well done by the program to get the right coach, turn things around. you hear a lot about the punching bags, but nice that they have things figured out and all orders restored out there in the bluegrass because Louisville and Kentucky both have a good basketball team. And speaking of which, Kentucky should get credit. Mark Pope looks like the right guy. So I feel it feels too high. Kentucky's a ways away. I mean, they're so young and everything, but I'm gonna have to grab the points here. That feels, feels like a sucker bet because why isn't this line like 3.5 or whatever? But I have to. I mean, 6 is just too much.
I agree. It's Kentucky or nothing for me tonight in that game, especially with a big rivalry, getting sticks. Let's go and take it. Next up, we've got Texas Tech visiting Illinois tonight. -3.5 for the Illini, 167.5 total.
Yeah, I know sharp guys on both sides of this game. I like both coaches, although Underwood, he's almost like he's kind of going down on my list. He's dropped the egg a little bit a few times. I like him. Obviously, he knows what he's doing. This Tech coach might be the real deal. I loved Chris Beard when he was there, and they just keep finding the right coaches. I'll have to take the points here. Illinois, the last couple of years with Underwood, they've just been a little too unpredictable for a team that's ranked as high. I liked the pivot last year they went to like offensive minded, but I've just been disappointed with them. They basically have cost me too much money, so I have to take the points here.
No problem with that. I really like this next one. Creighton and Gonzaga, just after 10 East. This is at the Kennel, too. Gonzaga -11.5, 165. That seems like, I know Gonzaga at home, Doug, but that feels like a lot, 11.5.
Well, they just smacked Oklahoma, and they jumped off the screen in that game. They were up 19 at the break. So I remember watching that game. I think it was Saturday night. I'm just like, man, you got to be careful betting against the Zags at the Kennel, especially for teams that aren't used to going there. Like when it's the WAC teams that go there and they're catching 28.5 and they're not, and it's like a Saturday, the crowd doesn't bother them. But Creighton might get a little bit of a wake up call here. I'm not laying it, but I certainly understand grabbing the points, but I'm just not going to pull the trigger. It just again, they were up 19 at home to OU. I just feel it could be one of those games that gets away in the second half.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, though. It's going to be one that I'll be tuned in on tonight because I want to see Gonzaga play a little bit here to start the season. And Cincinnati-Dayton, not a bad game either tonight as well. -5.5 for the Bearcats, 149 flat. So you get 3 or 4 really good college basketball
for sure
games this evening.
Yeah, nothing jumps out to me in general. I think I'm going to have to take Wake in the points at Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor against. They're playing this in Detroit. Excuse me. Yeah, so it's not even on the Michigan campus. Wolverines are legit, well coached. We know that. I know Chris Paul isn't walking through that door, but Wake plus that many points over 2 touchdowns seems like a lot. Can I interest you at all in the Florida State-Florida game? Defending champ playing 17.5.
Give me the points. Give me the Noles with the 17.5. Rivalry game, Doug. Come on. Rivalry game. Florida State.
I know. And there's no Leonard Hamilton, the man who defies age, right?
No, fine. No more Leonard Hamilton there with that one. So some
like
fun.
He was 45 all the time.
He always looked 45. 17.5 for the Gators this evening. There you go. College hoops for tonight. Pretty good slate there. All right, best bet time. Looking to keep the train rolling. 5 straight daily doubles here on Betting Weekly Live. For me, going back to the ice tonight, probably a little heavier than we usually go with the best bets, but I'm taking the Winnipeg money line in Vancouver against the Canucks. Really like this tonight. Big bounce back spot for Winnipeg. They did not play well in the 3 California stops. Now they go to Vancouver. Think you get a classic Hellebuck Stonewall performance this evening. -130 for the Jets in Vancouver for me, Doug.
Okay, look, you liked them all day. It's a good spot. You're going some road hockey. I like it. Better team, hopefully, for our sake, wins.
Yes.
I'm not messing around. There's line value here. I think it's a great spot. The Raptors off a loss. Very offensive-minded team. The coach not going to let them screw around here in the Big Apple. At the Nets, first quarter team total over 29.5. I feel like they're going to put up 34, 35 points, maybe even a 40 spot. So I wanted to lay the 2.5, but I have more confidence that they're going to score than they do. They're going to shut down the Nets offense because the Nets could get hot. I mean, they're pretty inept, but if this lands like 28-20 or something like that, I'm going to be very upset. But just know to the people at home, I'm betting both. But for our daily double, I'll do first quarter team total over.
All right, Raptors first quarter team total over 29.5 with the Winnipeg Jets on the money line. That gives you the daily double tonight, plus 215 this evening.
We got the money, your money line skewing things. That's okay.
I know.
Nice
We've been in that 240 to 260 range during this entire streak.
What? So, I think what's happening, the odds makers are getting a hold of our Google Doc and moving the odds against us.
They are.
We're making the company go broke. That's what it is.
That is what's happening. So we need to, but you know what, Doug? As long as if we keep winning, that's all that matters, whatever the price is there. So as long as the wins as long as it keeps coming towards us and not going in the other direction, we're going to be just fine. And for everybody who watches and listens, as long as it keeps going in their direction as well, that is absolutely what we want. Doug, tremendous job as always. Let's get the Jets and the Raptors here tonight. Get 6 straight daily doubles on Betting Weekly Live. Great job by everybody as always. Betting Weekly Live, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the Bet Rivers Network. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian. We are back tomorrow. NBA, NHL, Maction, college hoops. It's all happening. Have a great night. We'll see you then.